So generally what I'm going to do, I just want to look up the patch notes real quick, see if there's anything notable to point out that I think is going to make a reasonable impact on the meta. Nothing this is here is important. 8-bit, that seems like a considerable buff. I think Caitlyn is a good unit already. Let me also pull up the unit list on my little TFT sheet, just so I have a point of reference on this as well. Oh God, is the ads on this page gonna destroy my stream? Damn, the best gifts and beauty. Do I not have ad blocker on this? I really need to add ad blocker on this window. Corky, Garen, Riven, Caitlyn. I don't think Riven's still good enough to come back. Riven still feels kind of icky. I'm trying to think of any of the frontline carries that I love at this moment, but I'm not the biggest fan of Riven in general. I feel like the meta is so polarized around Jazz and Fast 9 currently, especially Ziggs. That's really kind of hard to judge where it's going to go. But I think Caitlyn's a good unit right now, so I think there's a possibility. I'm really surprised, actually, Country's catching nerfs here. That is surprising to me. Guardian shields going down a little bit. I don't think Guardians were that oppressive. Jazz getting an adjustment is probably good. It'll almost certainly still be good as a late game splash, but we shall see on that. And I think the Grandpa's score coming down a little bit is good. I think really it's hard to judge where the meta is going to go from here. I think it's a cop-out answer, but because it's so polarized around Ziggs and Fast 9 Jazz, I think there's not really... It's really hard to judge where it's going to go from here. Yeah. So let's continue going on there. Oh, I forgot that 5 gives Omnivamp. That's great. But yeah, I think Country, I feel like, is a good backup option. Again, it's really hard to judge where the meta is going to go because it's so polarized around how Jazz spikes and how late game those 9 boards. I have been having a lot of success with Punk, but that is a little bit later that I want to talk about. All right, champs. Can we go over to the next slide? Cool. Okay. So slight damage down on Kennen's going to stop the Superfan opener from being as oppressive. Still probably be good because it's gaining an extra item, unless that's getting changed. I did see, I believe on Reddit, a really good suggestion for swapping Superfan 3 and 4. I think that would be incredible. If not getting a free item for playing 3 really good units / 4 really good units that synergize well with each other would be pretty sick. I think Yasuo reroll is... with the Jazz changes, and I know there's Ziggs nerfs as well, is already not awful. I think this will probably be a little bit better, getting that much more AD, especially with the scaling. Yeah, because it's a spell ratios being scaling. So especially with the automatic scaling from him stacking up. I always forget the Omnivamp is from his headliner. The bling bonus is the execute, and then he naturally has the AD scaling. This unit has just so much on him. He is overloaded with things to do. That one's okay. Well, I guess if none of the other crowd divers getting touched, I think that what I'm seeing here so far, crowd divers is probably still going to be really good. Probably even stronger if it can spike sooner, because I feel like the basic tempo of every lobby right now is based around can it stabilize quick enough? I think Annie's really the only outliner behind Jazz and Fast 9 where it can stabilize early, not lose too much health in the early game, and get to the point where you can either stack up that Ahri or, again, just transition into playing Ziggs. So more boards that can do that. And I believe Annie's getting... Well, actually, no, Annie's not in this large changes. Is she getting lightly touched? Hey, Jude. How you doing? I'm doing well. Just doing a little reading the patch notes. If Annie's not... Annie and or Trace are not getting touched in a way, that is a bit concerning. She is very strong right now. Because in my mind, it's like... Yeah, I'm trying to think anything else. Again, I've been having success with Punk, but I don't think Punk is good. I think it's because we are late in the patch. People are trying to experiment beyond playing what has become a stale at the end of 2 weeks, which I mean, we're lucky as a game, doing well, popping up their streaming. It's so swag to see you game. Yeah, this is the year of Save as Untitled making content again. Well, not this year. This is kind of me building back up my tolerance for 2024. But I think I want to make some stuff. So, yeah, it's exciting to be back. I should probably... Can I bring this up a tiny bit? Nope, that moves. Oh, that's horrible. Yeah. That actually... there's ranked melee now. That would be so funny. I think I could scam some subs and be like, yeah, I get like 25 subs 1 month. I will grind to a specific rank in melee. That'd actually be really fun because I suck at actually playing the game and getting people. I feel like that would be a nice compromise. Actually, it just not even as a sub goal. I think that would be really fun to just see how fraudulent I am. Actually, we're putting that on the whiteboard. I'll put it on the figurative whiteboard in my little Notion app, but that is actually a really good idea. I'm going to totally do that. This should be in my general notes. Melee grind time. Yeah, once I get sick of playing TFT, I'm going to, first leak my entire Discord server, and then I'm going to grind Melee and make everyone hate me. Word. That's really fun. I'm excited. Anyways, back to the grinding the game I'm kind of good at. I still don't think this Cassante unit is good as a frontliner. I think all of the Heartsteel units kind of are designed to not be super, super strong. Or if they were strong, Heartsteel would become like a guaranteed play like Yordle was in that. I'm not sure if that was 6 or 7 where you just required to play Yordle opener for Econ. But it's good to see this unit get a little bit better. And even though I was saying Crowd Diver is still good, Yone really doesn't see any play outside of that. In Heartsteel, he feels like a worthless unit, and if you're playing like an Edro comp, he's kind of just like a trait bot. Oh, Jude, I didn't even see you also subbed as well. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I gotta get somewhere that have the notifications up. But yeah, I think Yone becoming an actual useful unit is surprising. Also, only 4 changes here. I can't think of any units off the top of my head that I would change, but let's see. And then all of the 4 costs kind of suck, so them getting boost is good. Let's see. Caitlyn getting buffs. I don't think she really needed it because she's pretty strong. Or she's not pretty strong. She's passable, but I guess comparatively the other 4 costs that are kind of right now. That makes sense. Ezreal, probably one of the strongest. That's like Ezreal and Akali, some of the strongest 4 cost units. Again, Viego, I wish Viego was better. Hopefully these numbers will be good enough to get him to a useful state. But he doesn't feel super great right now. So yeah, well, hopefully generally this boosts the cost of 4 costs. I think that is also important for slowing down the meta because people not being able to stabilize with 4 cost allow for it to a lot easier for players to go Fast 9 because it's just like any Jazz Fast 9. It's any Crowd Divers Jazz Fast 9. And Crowd Divers, the couple of games I played it, when it hits and you're uncontested, you can easily win if you hit. Again, it's a reroll comp. That's kind of the thing you have to suffer in a reroll comp. But yeah, nothing other major here. It's hard for me, I think, especially to speak on any of these changes to a larger extent because I don't really play any of these units. Most of these are pretty unclickable and or are space fillers. Zed's kind of like an afterthought in the Crowd Diver. He does do a lot of damage, but if you're getting to the point where you're playing the Crowd Diver comp, you've hit the Katarinas, you're getting to play Zed, it's just a general positive. You're not like sneaking Zed into another comp because EDM feels kind of right now. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about Disco too when I was talking about the state of the meta. Oh yeah, Twisted Fate. It's hard to remember everything going on, but Twisted Fate is probably the best 4 cost by a long mile. Twisted Fate and Blitz because they work together. And I guess I was thinking more in context of 4 cost. a 4-cost damage dealers. The 4-cost frontline units. Poppy's pretty solid as a tank. Let me think. Zach feels hit or miss as a tank. Thresh is pretty solid. He doesn't feel as oppressive as the spot he's kind of filling of Jarvan. But yeah, kind of abysmal. Karthus is hit or miss. It seems like with the Fast 9 meta, where Karthus and Akali had their kind of moment in the sun, and which Akali is that actually getting buffed? Okay, that is true damage. Oh, so they're not touching other Akali. Yeah. Maybe again with the meta slowing down that Karthus Akali will get a little bit better. But I think that was good. It felt like early patch was doing well, but now that people are able to greed and go to playing around 5 costs, it doesn't feel as strong. And if the numbers on the play rate on Alawi is absolutely insane, and that just kind of crushes Alawi Karthus. You can just play Karthus Akali, and that just crushes this board because it fills both the corners and has the low health units. But hopefully this will be enough to slow down the meta a little bit, or at least centralize it towards lower cost than 5-cost units. This is really good. Kayn is a dog unit. I feel sort of similarly about Jhin. I'm never really happy to play Jhin. I wish he would be a little bit stronger. Let me see. Make sure I'm not forgetting any other 5 costs. Yeah, Kayn is by and far the worst. I've seen a lot of positive things said about Sona. I haven't gotten her to work personally. York is incredibly strong. Lucian, as himself, I've never been like super excited to play him, but getting the additional Jazz usually peaks your board enough, and Kiana is really good in the comp she's really good in, but not really a splash unit. I think Ziggs having 2 hyper pop, and just you can splash Ziggs on any board and you have a strong enough front line. And I don't know if they're making any bag changes, because that's kind of one of the big issues now too, is that the person who gets either the 2-star 4-cost frontline and or the headliner frontline, it's really hard to catch up to those players. To keep up with because of the bag size changes, where it's like you're not going to be able to find these units. Kennen's getting a double nerf. Yeah, so Jazz getting a nerf, both Bard and MF catching a nerf. Okay, Katarina is getting touched a little bit, so that'll maybe keep up with that. Interesting to note that Set was bugged. I've never felt great about his stacking mechanic. Doesn't really feel good. It's usually in the fights where you're getting it to proc. I'm glad they changed it from what it was on PB. I think it was 10% to 50%. Still doesn't feel great. Maybe that was because it was bugged. Zach getting slight headliner buffs. Zach seems too squishy. Even with items, he seems a little too squishy. And it's like, well, I guess I'm trying to think what bruiser you want to play with him, but if you're playing... No, I don't want 5 gold. Yeah, if you're playing two bruisers, you honestly probably want Set either to give one, because he's just a better unit than Zach. He feels 2-star Set feels better than 2-star Zach, at least in my personal experience. But if you're going to play one, you're up to more flexibility with your 5-cost front line, because if you hit... Well, even with your 4-cost, you hit Poppy, you can get the Mosher bonus on her. They can both be Moshers, get that heal, get that attack speed. You can play him with Alawi. You can also play him with York. And York with best in slot Titan's gloves, really good. These two guys, and yeah, like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone play this out of him besides being a skill bot. Because it's like you're just playing him in Disco, or you're playing him in Spellweaver to have another frontliner besides Echo. Yeah. And we can get back to this. Yeah, Zig's getting another nerf here. Tuning down the problem of Jazz. Cool. Seeing the Grammarly ad, I think that's pretty negative for my perception of the meta moving forward. Let's see what else we got. More taking a lot of time. Okay, what are we doing with... augments, and I'm not missing anything. Okay. Good for something one had a 50% drop rate. That is crazy. Reach the summit. Okay, I think that's good. Yeah, both of the level 9 get gold and XP ones didn't really feel super great. Young and Wild and Free. I think Young and Wild and Free has a horrendous, I think it's like 5 or so win rate now. So that getting a little bit buff makes sense. I don't think I've ever taken that. So I can't really speak to that. Bigger shot did more damage than intended. That is wild, and it explains why it does so well. Ramping Rhythm, again, not one I ever enjoyed taking. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's a comp that it reminds me of where you don't really ever feel like you want more than 2. And 2 giving that base 10% attack speed bonus really feels like anything above that doesn't help. And you're missing out on frontline by playing 4. I think a lot of the drop off for stat wise. Can I double check this? I should be when I'm making broad statements about augments. I should be making, or I want to go something like this. Can I do it just by traits then? Am I able to sort just by rapid fire, or do I have to go like this? Okay, so there's 2 rapid fire, 4.19, so that's probably being brought up by the leucine rate. Yeah, 4 rapid fire, 5, and then I'm assuming we're going to go back up for it's a change. Wow, even going back up, it's of course a gold one, not a prismatic one, so it's not going to go up an insane amount like something like 10 Spellweaver that you rarely hit, but super low play rate and not really that great for hitting 6 of those. I think because you're losing out on the front line. So I still don't think going more than 2 rapid fire units is going to be any good, but we'll see. And this Horde's getting a nerf. That's interesting. Jazz is getting triple hit. Yeah, Jazz 7 cost Jazz should be dead now. I can't imagine it surviving the MF nerf, the Bard nerf, the trait nerf, and the nerf to the best augment in the game. Submit to the Pit. I don't think I've seen anyone play that. I've never felt excited about it, so maybe it'll be good now. Binary airdrop, okay, and this Horde's going along. Yeah, that's the going along is the no. I can tell you by looking at the augment. Yeah, going along is the no interest one. Holy moly! Yeah, I don't think adding 8 gold is gonna change that dramatically, especially with the no interest. Infernal Contract giving more. That I feel like, well, in Infernal Contract, you're playing a 7 cost board, so you're playing like 3 cost reroll. So that's basically for Country, Vex, Samira, what have you. I don't think the gold, I don't think that's going to change anything dramatically. And unless there's a better 3 cost reroll comp that comes up, I don't feel like that's going to end up being too impactful. Let's see. 3 costs that we could reroll. I mean, if Lux ends up being good, but Lux isn't getting touched now, right? Yeah, I don't think we saw any Lux changes, so I need to click on this too. Oh, Pope's messaging me. And maybe Luther reroll becomes good. I mean, Country getting, maybe the Country changes aren't going to be that impactful. I guess that makes sense too, because they wouldn't be able to change this without. Well, I think the Jazz nerf is irregardless of that. But yeah. So let's just wrap up by seeing what else is being changed. Brewers are getting a slight buff. I still think it is the weakest of. Guardian's got a nerf. Moshers. Yeah, it's probably the weakest of like the frontline traits. This feels like more than a small change. Well, okay, so it's nerfing 1, which I guess is even more going to hurt Country. Yeah, the 15-5, I guess it'll hurt. This is the only thing that will really hurt Punk. That doesn't seem like a major change as well for Crowd Diver. Like, I think that's still going to be strong. Because Crowd Diver, as long as you last for like 5 seconds, not 5 seconds, you last for a long enough fight, they're just going to one-shot everything. Katarina's going to best bounce stuff around, or you have a long enough fight where it's so few units left against Katarina, who has a considerable amount of healing. When she builds the item on it, you just bang, 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 dead. Yeah, Bobbles. I'm going to talk about it after I look at the patch, finish up looking at the patch notes. But I'm tremendously punk pilled right now. This I think is not well. Were people building like double Shojin Annie? Well, this is definitely going to stop her from being strong from the jump, because Shojin. I can look at the specific stats on this, but like Shojin Gnasher's Tooth Annie pumps. So let's see, overall rate 4.33, pretty crazy. 3-star, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Okay, so we're seeing you don't hit 3-star in Annie, you have a terrible time. Let me zoom that in a little bit. Going from 6.5 to 4.13, that is wild. But we'll go with this, and then we'll look at items. Okay, so people aren't playing double. You can see that from there. Double Shojin is actually not the move. Wow. People are building it a lot, though. That's wild. Yeah, and this is Diamond Plus. So let's get to high sample size. Yeah, Gnasher's feels really good on him. You're being Ginsu's? Okay, that's a low play rate. Yeah. Oh, really? And Jewel Gauntlet adds that much? I'm surprised that Jewel Gauntlet's performing that poorly. Yeah, but I guess Shojin. Gnasher's feels really good with that, because you just want her to cast and cast and cast and cast. So that makes sense. So instead of getting a free Shojin, you're going to have to build it now with your Gnasher's Tooth. But getting the swap over to Jewel Gauntlet, that was like the questionable third, because it felt like Gnasher's Shojin +1 and you got the Shojin for free. So now your +1 is chosen for you. For like 2 years now in Punk build. Yeah, Punk is such a fun. I don't want to go as far to say turn your brain off comp. There's a lot of nuance. Maybe I'm just I like playing reroll comps. There's a lot of nuance to be play with reroll comps, but I have my one friend Wan who like only plays Punk. He only plays the reroll comps. She's getting nerfed. We're getting nerfed to compensate for a change in that. Yeah, it's a fun turn off your brain. I'm probably going to play a Punk game after this. Let me see. Any more things here? Bug fixes. Am I going to read up all of these? Let me glance these while I get some water. What is Gambler's Blade and Diamond Hands are now properly in the artifact pool? Were they higher rate showing up before? I don't know if they're high rate showing, but I am a big artifact pool hater, because it's like if you roll any of the ones that generate gold, you're having a great time. Do the numbers back up that statement? I'm not looking for artifact. Are they Orns? Oh yeah, Orn is artifact now. Let's see. Goldmancers versus TFG. Yeah, so where's the lowest gold one? Yeah, gold, 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 gold. All the top performing ones. And then you have all of the other ones here not showing up. Yeah, so that makes 1,000,000% sense. Econ is skill-based. Also, Bob, I see your invites and messages. I'm just clearing them now. If you move Annie usage from Goldmaster staff, I don't think there's a way to do that. Can I just go? I think you can't do Explorer just by item, but you can just generally see gold, gold, gold. Even though I'm a Mogul's Mail hater. I love Gambler's Blade, but not a Mogul's Mail hater. And of course, the numbers are pretty close. I guess it's hard to normalize them as much because of the artifact portal. So these are getting played a considerable amount. Actually, yeah, I can be looking at the play rate as well. Yeah, Gambler's Blade, and also I guess you could say Infinity Edge here, performing as well as it does with that high of a play rate, like Goldmancer's, any increase it? No, there's not. Yeah. 12K games, yeah. Like Gambler's Blade performing this well, Diamond Plus with that much. Okay, I guess the low play rate supports that. I think Mogul's Mouse the worst of these. Voice probably inflated by Freaky Friday. Yeah. I guess Infinity Force is getting a lot more play rate by that. Yeah, and it seems like it's pretty one of the few that's stabilized by the users, or that there's a consistency on the users there. God, well, I'm glad that Sniper's Focus is back to being bad. But yeah, gold items are good here. I'm just taking a moment to complain about Artifact, but yeah, so there's nothing really major on here. So overall thoughts on the patch. Let's switch back over to a better view to kind of talk about it. So overall notes in the patch. I am glad that Jazz has been put into the dirt. I think that late game Jazz, like the splashing, I think it was probably meant to be played, is still going to be good. 8-bit hopefully will be good. I think, and we were talking about this, you and I, Pope, that Caitlyn's a good unit. I don't know about any of the other 8-bit units. Riven still feels bad. The Edgelord kind of path feels a little bad. Yasuo is getting buffs, so I would be more willing to say that I think Yasuo reroll might be strong again. That I think the bigger thing to talk about from this patch is how the tempo of games generally are going to change, because Jazz is not going to be the only comp, or Jazz is at 7 is not going to be the comp that stabilizes. So we're either going to see a lot more early game reroll or just earlier game general comps be able to push the tempo of lobbies quicker. Maybe Lux or something will show up and be good. I doubt it'll be Lux. Maybe the 8-bit stacking up will be good. And maybe I'm country nerfs concern me too. I'm concerned that there will be nothing, or maybe at the beginning of the patch there's going to be nothing that can compete easily with Fast 9 still, and there's just going to be a different Fast 9 carry instead of, especially, oh, dude, that's the nightmare scenario where the Kayn buffs make him good enough to take the spot of Ziggs, or Ziggs just might still be good. Yeah. There's a possibility we just end up, I'm going to switch over this, like, looking at win rates for 5 costs. Like, the play rates for Alawi and Ziggs. So that's these numbers. Can I play rate? So that is, if I'm reading this number correctly, that means in every game, 3 out of 8 people, close to 3 out of 8 people are playing Alawi on the board. That is ridiculous. And same with Lucian. Oh, yeah. Player who gets first place and the player who gets second place are playing Lucian. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. That is great. The average, and look at the average number for 4 costs. Just shows you how bad 4 costs are. Thresh being the most played one. It makes sense. A frontliner would be the most played one. Yeah. Yeah. So my concern is we're just gonna have someone else. Fast 9 is still gonna survive, and we're just gonna have someone else be the carry. Whether it be Jhin, or it's not going to be Lucian's going to be kind of, his numbers are going to fall off. It might be Kayn. Well, yeah, I guess so. If Kayn is the new Fast 9 guy, then that whole edgelord path is going to get stronger. But you really only need, I feel like, 3 edgelord to make that good. Yeah, so I am, and I guess if it's, I would rather have Kayn be the broken 9 carry. I would rather have like Kayn or Kiana, because it being like a backline, or even York being the broken carry, Kayn will never be the guy. Yeah, too many units on the board late game. Yeah, the nature of being a frontline carry makes them a little bit less dangerous and oppressive, where Ziggs can just in the back line and blow people up. So what I would like to happen is these 4 costs get stronger. What my Doomer gut is telling me is that Fast 9 is still going to be strong. As soon as the patch happens, I almost guarantee that Fast 9 is still going to be strong, because we need to find out the new good reroll comp. So at least for the first day or two, The comp that will fill the hole that is left by Jazz needs to be discovered. I want it to be Punk. Well, I've been having a lot of good success with Punk. Punk is being pretty much not touched besides the small executioner changes. So Punk might be strong enough to force the meta back to being a little bit slower or not allowing everyone to go fast 9 with 1,000,000 health and 1,000,000 gold. But Jazz being but at least at the very beginning of the new patch, I think Fast 9 is still going to be good with the carry maybe more being towards Jhin. Jhin, Sona. People have been having a lot of success, it seems, with Sona. I haven't been feeling the same thing in my games, but I'm probably playing her wrong. I need to watch VODs of other people playing Sona. So that is my predictions. What I'm going to be playing is I'm going to continue to be playing Punk. And maybe keeping an eye out for Yasuo reroll. I'm going to continue to slam these boards because Fast 9 seems to not work for the way I play the game. Or it is a lot more mentally taxing, of course, than playing reroll Punk or reroll Yasuo. So what I'll be playing is that. Maybe some Disco more if I get a good Disco opener. I think Disco's a solid top 4 board. Maybe Disco capped will stop being a 3rd or 2nd board without Jazz capping everything. I hope this helps the meta, but I am wary and concerned. Maybe we'll get our first B patch. One of many B patches. But yeah, I think that is all I really got to say about the patch. Yeah, so I think I'll make this patch thing into a standalone video of itself. I'll start doing stuff like that. Maybe I'll cut some shorts into it. But yeah, overall, this is for the short. Overall, I am concerned for Fast 9 still existing because Jazz will not be there anymore to have that little bit of stopgap, and either Crowd Divers has to get really good. Something else in that area of the early game carries has to be good. Maybe the 4 cost will get strong enough. Maybe 8-bit will be strong enough. But I think Fast 9 is still probably going to be good with a different carry other than Ziggs.